Hi, how are you today? In today's video, we're going to talk about the myths of suicide. Before we begin, there's a disclaimer. Because many have been affected by friends or family members who die by suicide, this is a heavy topic. If this topic is triggering for you, skip this video. And may I suggest that you talk to a mental health professional near you about this trigger. I'm Huey. I'm a licensed professional counselor at Heart to Heart with Me. A couple of weeks ago, a bright star, Coco Lee, died by suicide. This was a shocking news to all. I want to shed some light into this topic because research does show that there's an increase in suicide rate after a celebrity died by suicide. Example, research shows that suicide rate increased by 9.85%, almost 10% after the death of Robin Williams. This is why I want to bring our attention to the myths about suicide thoughts and suicide. Suicide thoughts, also known as suicide ideation. There's passive suicide ideation, where someone isn't actively planning suicide, but there's this thought of, wouldn't it be great if I don't wake up tomorrow? Then there's active suicide ideation, where someone actually have a plan on how to go about it. They collect information about different ways on how to execute it. They collect equipments, medications. Some may even have a date and time in mind. So, the first myth surrounding suicide thought is that talking about it will make things worse. That is not true. In fact, research shows that acknowledging and talking about it reduces suicide ideation. So, if you notice a friend or a family member is behaving very differently than before, talk to them about what you notice and tell them you're concerned. Be gentle but direct when you're talking to them about suicide ideation. Like, I noticed that you stay in your room a lot more lately and you're more irritable. I want you to know that I care about you. I'm here for you. I want to know if you're thinking about death or harming yourself. I know it is scary to touch on this subject, but by approaching the topic of death, you give them a safe place to start the conversation. They may be resistant to talk about it in the beginning. Remember to be gentle but direct. Number 2, people who talk about suicide or suicide thoughts are just seeking attention. This is also not true. Sometimes you hear them say that they don't want to live another day anymore, or they'll say things like life is meaningless, or no one will care if I'm gone, it doesn't matter. Now, usually our reaction to these statements are, but you have so much to live for. You have your family, a good job, or saying things like, that's crazy, look at the bright side. These statements usually make them stop talking about it because they don't feel heard, they don't understand how they're feeling. But it doesn't stop them from thinking about it. So what should you say instead? Example, I hear that you're going through a lot. Can you tell me more? Invite them to talk about it. Then help them to look for professional help and get better. Your support as a friend or family member is irreplaceable, but professional help is important too. Number 3, suicide always occurs without warning. That's not true either. Sometimes after someone died by suicide, you hear people say, I saw him 2 weeks ago, he seemed fine. This is so sudden. In most cases, there are warning signs, such as their behavior changed radically, or they organize gatherings to say goodbye, or they say goodbye in their social medias, and many more, which will be discussed in the next video in detail. Number 4, tell them that suicide is a long-term solution to a short-term problem is a good idea. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that for most of us, this statement seems so right. This quote does seem so right for someone who's not suffering from depression or any other mental illnesses, or someone that's not despair, someone that is still able to exercise their logical thinking. However, to someone that's already in despair and suffering, it could sound dismissive to their struggles when we say that it is a short-term problem. When you are not feeling hopeless and helpless, you are clear-minded, it is easy to see that it is a short-term problem and you can find a solution to the problem. But when you're feeling hopeless and helpless, you'll think and feel that your struggle has no end. So, saying suicide is a long-term solution to a short-term problem to someone that's struggling doesn't help. So share this with your loved ones. You just don't know whose life you'll save. I hope you find these information helpful. In the next 2 videos, we're going to talk about the warning signs and how to approach this topic when you suspect that your loved one is at risk. If you find this information helpful, give us a like, comment down below and let us know know what other questions do you have about this topic. If this topic interests you, watch this next video. You are encouraged to use the information in this video to improve your mental health. However, this is not a substitute for professional help.